Well, I don't know how successful they'll be with this one because the man's got some friends in high places, because that's how he got the job in the first place, wasn't it? BBC journalists overwhelmingly want Chair Richard Sharp fired. Yeah, there's loads of questions around Richard Sharp's appointment as chair of the BBC, because the BBC don't get to appoint its own chair. It's appointed by the government. And allegedly, he got the job as a gift from his mate Boris for setting him up with a line of credit with a mate for 800 grand. I still fail to understand how Boris is short of 800 grand, but allegedly all this took place, and that's how Richard Sharp got the job. But even if that's not what happened, his reputation there is tainted by no one really knows the truth, and no one ever will know the truth. No matter how much they deny it, everyone's going to still think it, even if it is alleged, even if it's not true, and he comes out and says it. He's tainted, isn't he? So now journalists are ganging up on him, not just us serfs. A massive 95% of BBC journalists think Richard Sharp, the Tory donor installed at the head of the broadcaster during Boris Johnson's time in Downing Street, should immediately resign, a new poll has indicated. A survey of BBC reporters conducted by the National Union of Journalists, which received more than 1,000 replies, found that just 4% think he should stay on as chair of the corporation. An unassailable 97% said the revelations around Sharp, who helped facilitate a loan reported 800 grand for then Prime Minister Johnson, had damaged the BBC's reputation. Yeah, like I said, that's a big number actually, wasn't it? There was 95% of BBC journalists, not just journalists, BBC journalists, think Richard Sharp could go. And as we said, even if he comes out completely denies all the allegations and say, no, that's not what happened. I was the best man for the job. Boris knew that. It's not about old school friends. It's not about friends helping friends. I was the best man for the job. It's still tainted. His reputation as chair of the BBC is still tainted, isn't it? So can he keep that job? It's kind of building up against him, isn't he? But I was surprised to see that 95, when I first read the headlines, I don't read any of these in advance, you see. I just make sure that it's something we could talk about, normally from the headline and a little bit, I skim it or whatever, and save it so that I can react the same way you react when you first hear it, right? I didn't know it was BBC Journal. Actually, it says it in the headline. Yeah, it's Monday. It's Monday. It's a long day. I'm on the San Miguel. You know, I've been in the office all day. I didn't read it properly. But yeah, BBC journalists. Michelle Stranistat, the NUJ General Secretary, said, "It's clear that Richard Sharp has lost the dressing room. Journalists working at the BBC no longer have confidence in their chairman. Revelation of Sharp's role as financial matchmaker for Boris, yeah, blah, we know what happened, but it's just surprising. Just surprising that it's BBC journalists. But then BBC journalists aren't that happy at the moment anyway, because a lot of them are getting the chop, aren't they? So they'll probably be unhappy with anything that goes on at the BBC. But it's tainted the reputation, not just of himself as the chair, but of the BBC themselves. And it looks like BBC employees are actually speaking out about it. They spoke out last week about the stuff that boss Tim Davies said. Now they're speaking out about the chair. It's like a mutiny on the good ship BBC at the minute. It's good, isn't it? Makes me laugh. What do you reckon about this then? Do you think Richard Sharp can keep that job as chair of the BBC? Do you think he needs to go? Because he's never going to shake that reputation off. Is he? I don't know. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because that way, hopefully, I'll see you in another video again soon. Ta-da. I'm going to finish this San Miguel now.